And in that process, when we move from fear to love, we experience change. And more importantly, we experience miracles. So I invite you to sit back, listen to this audio, take notes, and contact me should you have any questions. Inspiration is what it's all about as we live our way through life. So today is the 28th of June, and I want to start just welcoming all of you here, because it takes a lot for you to say, I'm going to go and do something for myself, whatever that may be. I want to go, I'm feeling called, I'm feeling pulled to go to this event, whether you feel dragged or you feel like, maybe I have nothing else to do, I'll just go. Source has a way of getting you right where you're supposed to be at the right time. It's called synchronicity, right? So everything in life is synchronicity. People call it a miracle. People call it a coincidence. Nothing is ever a coincidence. In fact, if you meet people or you meet the love of your life, that's just like one forever coincidence, right? That just keeps going and going. So I just think it's very interesting because we all will end up where we're supposed to at the right time. In this event tonight, you're going to hear me use words like source. You're going to hear me use words like God, higher power. I don't care who your higher power is. I don't care if you believe in the almighty energy of Mickey Mouse, whoever you put your belief system in, there's a bigger power out there, whatever that is. I'm just going to refer to it as source. It's non-religious, so I got to throw that out there, non-denominational. But it really is an energy that has made mountains. It's created families. It's created friendships. It's created business successes. It's created events. It's what, I don't know how many people have had children in this room. It's a miracle. You know something bigger out there had a part of. So, source energy is who we are. Source energy is all around us. It's in every thought that we have where we feel like, oh my God, I have a calling. I want to do this. I want to do that. Or there's a little voice that says, where I'm at right now isn't so hot, but I want to be here. I want to get here. Whether it's financial, whether it's in business, whether it's in families. My scope of work is that success in ourselves. Because if we are not focused on I always say I'm an entrepreneur in the business of me. If we are not successful in who we are, if we don't even know who that person is, then everything we try with our heart to do externally, not going to work. It's just not. It may fly for a little bit, but you're going to find you always land on your face. How many of us have been in relationships where it's like, oh my God, it's great. There's butterflies and there's chemistry, and it's almost, and then it ends the same way that every other relationship you've had ended, right? Because we keep looking externally for that something, that aha moment, that miracle. We forget that we are the miracle. We're the miracle. So everything I do, I know some of you have known me, you've been doing this stuff with me, there's other stuff I've done, you've been there. But really I think it's important to focus on where we're at, what we want, where we want to go. Okay? So the event tonight is called the Get Your Shine On, because most of us wake up every day, we leave the house, and we've got this amazing this idea, and some of us use affirmations, and some of us believe we're going to do it. We put our YouTube videos on, we're pumped. Some people have Joel Osteen like pumping out there, or, quotes from Martin Luther King that they have videos on, and you're like, yeah, I'm ready. And then like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, something happens that takes our power away. Something happens that bursts our bubble. And working with the kids last night, it was interesting. They get it. Man, these kids get it. You know why? Kids are ready to learn because they don't know that they don't know. Okay? Adults want to learn, but we know better. We know better. And I don't care what guru, I don't care what professional you meet, there is nobody perfect. And I'll be the first person to admit my barriers. We're going to talk a lot about barriers later. But I sometimes will not go to an event because I automatically, ego says, oh, I already know that. I've been doing meditation for a long time. I don't need her to tell me how to meditate, so I'm going to skip that event. And it's funny because sometimes when we step out of our comfort zone or we do something that we weren't going to do, all of a sudden we are exposed to that infinite power, something bigger than us. Until our last breath, we will always be learning. We will always be growing and expanding. So that's what this get your shine on thing is. It's, you know what, it's there's so much in the world that brings us down, no matter how, and some of us would try, we're like, I'm ready, I'm doing it. But then, and it's funny because when you look at other people, you're like, oh, but I'm in a better place than them. I'm in a better place. And then there's that one thing I love at work. Your work relationships are awesome. It's like Gabrielle Bernstein says, life is the classroom, people are my assignments. And at work, we often are at work, whether you work from home or you work in a job, we are around these people, these people God says He put them in our life. She put them in our life. And these are the people that make us want to pull our hair out. And we're thinking, how is this the assignment? Right? This is like, are you kidding? But yet a lot of us go to church on Sundays. I don't. But we go to church, we go to these events, and then we're like, last night I was teaching the kids, I am the value, I am value. And we're like, well, I'm value. And then we sit next to the person in the cubicle, and we're like, the guy that with the card today. We give our power away so easily. It's like it's amazing to me because when you put together the things we're going to do tonight, there is no miracle drug. There is no miracle pill. There is no concoction. I'm sure Mary Kay may have a serum for it, but there's no, that was a plug, but there's no miracle out there that's going to make it easy. The only thing that makes it easy is the willingness and the commitment to something you've created, something you hold on to that you know works for you. And we use the word work. What does work mean? Well, okay, if I do this, I'm happy. I got more money, I lost weight, my house was happy, it was harmony. Or, okay, I do this, I've gained 5 pounds. I'm miserable. I'm angry. The problem with the two is, one, there are only 2 options in life. 2 actions, 2 choices. Anything we do in life, business, I always bring up business, not because you guys are here, but because business, people will say you don't put your heart in your sleeve in business. And I totally disagree. Because business is so much about who we are. Now, if you're in if you're not in that environment, you might be in the wrong business. But we are in business and in life, there are 2 things that we have choices are. It's either things are fear-based or they're love-based. And I'm totally jumping into stuff. Ilanova, there is food. Everybody, your name's not Ilanova tonight, by the way. No, you are powerful. So, I'll explain it in just a little bit. So, when we start to get into this, the whole thing about this is the happiness cocktail, right? Whether you are a recovering alcoholic, or you are an alcoholic, or you're not, and you've had a cocktail once in a while. Cocktails make you feel happy. They let your hair down, right? But in this kind of environment, I wanted to create something that was long-lasting. I wanted to create something that would kind of give you the same effect without having to go out and constantly, indulge in a fuzzy navel. So, those are good. So, I came up with something not just because I wanted to come up with it, but most of you know I created something called The Movement Within from my own life in 2009. And I'm always moving here because here is where all of the clutter is or the clarity is. And so every day we have to go in here and figure our stuff out because out there is going to reflect where we are inside. Do you want to grab some food? You're good? Okay. All right. So I'm doing the welcome, a very long welcome, but I'm doing the welcome. And so this whole event tonight, the happiness cocktail, the formula, because I want to give this to you. I want you guys to take it. We're going to create your own. And your ingredients for your concoction and your ingredients, they're going to be different. Because there are different things. We are not the same being. It would be a very boring world. We are spicy and different, and our thoughts, we receive source energy differently on purpose. How you see the movie The Notebook, very different. You saw it today. Very different than the way somebody else may see it. The way you see a crying child, very different than the way somebody else may. There's a reason for that. Because it makes the world expand. It's the flavor of what life is about. Okay? So our ingredients are going to be different. What speaks to our heart, what makes us happy, is going to be different. So we're going to create those. Before we do anything in life, before we get up in the morning, and again, all of this stuff is optional. It's free will. That's another thing that Source says in many different major books. Free will. You have free will. And it's interesting because Marianne Williamson says, I do a lot of Marianne Williamson stuff. There's a notebook in your bag and a pen. Take notes. If there's things that I say and your source is saying, write it down. There's a reason for that. So Marianne Williamson says she's doing this whole new book about, great for business, but it's basically about compensation. It's a divine right to compensation, so it's about abundance. And she says that it's interesting because babies are from an embryo, and their lungs come together, and their hair comes together, and everything just comes together perfectly. They do nothing. The acorn just is formed perfectly. The bud and the flower, it just is formed perfectly, and then it just, at the right moment, it opens. At the right moment, that baby comes into the world. At the right moment, that acorn becomes the oak tree. And then it's no different. It's a pre-programmed life. It's a pre-programming. We're no different. The only difference between us and the acorn is we can tell source energy, no. So Marianne Williamson says, we are ready, we are pre-programmed to align with our power, align with our greatness, and many of us say, yes, no, I'm not ready because of this and this and this, and we call those limiting beliefs. Those are those barriers. And we're so conditioned and structured. And most of us are not conditioned or structured for bad reasons. Our beautiful parents, so parents in the room, as I'm saying this, take note of this. Our parents raised us with the best things that they had. With the only thing they had. So we kind of look at like June Cleaver. You guys ever watch Leave It to Beaver growing up? Some of us, we were like looking at June. Why was my mom not like June Cleaver? And then we look at the mom we have, and it's like, okay, she's great, but she's ignoring me, or she's busy, or she's mean, or so we kind of compare our parents all the time, and most of us grow up blaming our parents. Because of them, because of the arguing, because of the divorce when I was 10, this is why I am the way I am. Or this is why I love the way I love. The problem with that is we are allowing these limiting beliefs that they had to continue to condition us. Okay? So we're not growing. So when we start to arrive at this place in our own well-being, this is why I call it the spirit posse. Because all of you wouldn't be here if you were not thinking about your own lives in terms of well-being. In terms of you, this is awesome because I've never had like the response like, what? Normally after in a text message, and I'm just like, yeah, that's okay. I'll be like one of those ladies at the, like, yeah. So, no, it's so okay. But it's interesting. I'm going to back up a little bit. When we start to do anything in life, we need to set the intention. It is your rudder. This is why we get up with a whole heart and we're ready to do something. I see this in relationships a lot. People are like, I'm ready, and I'm gonna put my best foot forward, I'm gonna listen, and I'm gonna be present. And then the other person says it, but then we do the complete opposite. And when I say relationships, it's also everything I say is relationships about ourselves. Okay? So our intentions, if we're not setting them, If we're not clear with the universe, if we're not telling the universe, here's what I want and here's what I'm willing to do, the universe can't give us completely what we desire. It's going to be a block. In fact, we often confuse the universe. Our hearts and our guts are wanting health. We're wanting well-being. We're wanting relief. We want clarity. We want wisdom. And then all of a sudden our ego, our fear-based thoughts, remember I said there's love, and then there's fear. Hate is not the opposite of love. We think that. It's in all of the songs. I love you, I hate you. Fear is the opposite of love. One is of the light, and one is dark. So, when you're looking at your intentions, everything there's a word called harmony. Everything has to be in harmony. The happiest people you know are often not the richest. They are often the ones that are in line, in sync, in harmony with their mind, their body, and their soul. All of it is in, that's that word again, synchronicity. Right? Those of us like to fight ourselves because remember, we know better. So our mind is over here doing this and we're listening to all these tapes and we're on target. Our body, and we're running every day and we're not, or planking, and then our soul is being completely ignored. And then we feel off. So with intentions, it's really important to start any event with an intention. And I like to use the word intention for me as a prayer. And I said earlier I'm going to talk about God. And please, if you know me, you know I am the most non-religious person. So when you're looking at the word prayer, it's nothing but a focused intention. It's an affirmation. All right? So I think sometimes when you're getting into religious words, so many people have stereotypes and then they block the message out. When you remove those, it really all means the same thing. Affirmation, intention, prayer. So I want to do an intention for tonight because it's important. At work, I work with Villanova. I always say, if I'm not here, I'm in the bathroom. And what I'm doing in the bathroom, I have to go to the bathroom. It's where I normally breathe. We're going to do some breathing later. I breathe. It's where you get your power back, because work sometimes will force you to lose your power. It'll make you question about everything you're doing. So I go pee, and then I call on every runner that I have, and I'm in that stall silently, because I think people would report me if they hear me, fire breathing. So it'd be a problem. Get called into her office. But so you want to set the intention when you get up in the day, because you are already refreshed. Spirit has had a chance to clean out some of the bugs while you were sleeping. And most of us get up, our feet hit the floor, we go to the bathroom, and that's it. That's it. So and this is going to go into the happiness cocktail, and we'll go into that later. Get up, feet hits the floor. I've kind of grown at my phone at the time, and start your day. And then all of a sudden, 11 o'clock comes, someone is in a bad mood, not by their own doing. They're going through something themselves at home. Most of us bring our stuff to work, and they're thinking, oh, it's something I did. Man, and we take it personal, and it had nothing to do with you. You have just unraveled. You've lost your power. Totally. So intention, tonight, my intention is for each of you to feel inspired. For each of you to walk away with something that you can. People say, there's nothing that works for me. Nothing works for me. You hear these people. My life is falling apart. I'm losing my house. Nothing is working. Everything's bad. And then they're like, but God doesn't give me a chance. No one gives me a shot in life. And then you're like, but you just went to this event. All right, you got to apply it. You got to apply it. There are a few people in this world that have a silver platter handed to them. They may be born into money, and they make it look so easy. No one has a silver platter. No one. There's something someone everywhere is going through. They're going through something. So even though your work may feel a little more, I was always chunky and I always had a struggle with grades. My other sister was this big around, had great grades. Everything was always like, and I remember growing up thinking, why? We come from the same incubator. What happened? Did I miss out on something? And we often do that to ourselves. So when we go back to the fact that we have to focus on where we are, who we are, not who you are or you are. I mean, I know most of you in this room, and I know you, if you look around at the room right now, please do. I don't want you guys uncomfortable. Look, everybody. Look. Right? I know that you guys have some stuff circulating at home. Whether it has to do with loved ones or stuff that you are lugging around from your childhood emotionally. That stuff. This is going to be great.
I feel like I'm in church right now.
So, but you guys have all showed up, dressed up, hair is done, you look beautiful, right? But we all think, well, but she's thin, she's happy. Look at her outfit. Look at her outfit. She must have money for clothes. You know, but we have to remember what that other person is thinking might be the same opposite. That one over there actually kind of looks confident. Because what we're lacking is confidence. So the intention is I want whatever is said through me tonight, because I always say in my sessions and other events, it is not of me, it is through me. We always wake up in the morning, we always say, where will you have me go? What will you have me do? What will you have me say, and to whom? Because that's how I find me. Not that you put others first, but what do I got to do today? So not only am I doing it for my highest good, but for your highest good. Because then we get selfish and that's the gift. If we're the miracle and we're only worried about me, then you're not going to experience anything. So the intention, another thing with the intention is I always like to call in my guides. I always call it your football team. Whether you like football or not, I just like the drinking and the eating. But your football team, you have a group of divine beings on the other side that are specifically assigned to you. You can't change it. It's like white on rice. It is what it is. Okay? It's like the law of attraction, right? We always get into it might come up tonight. People go, I don't believe in your energy stuff and the law of attraction. Whatever. It doesn't work for me. And then I say, fine, but it's law. It actually is one of the universal laws. So I ask you and I challenge you, stand on the roof and let's challenge the law of gravity. If you don't believe in the law of gravity, right? So the point is, don't play. Don't play. So it is what it is, whether we believe in it or not. It's there. If you choose to tap into what is law, and you choose to use what is there for you, these are your resources. Okay? I'm not telling you go to church. I'm telling you we're using basic principles, basic things like attracts like. We see this with weight, because most of you know me with playing with my weight. And all of that has to go into the happiness cocktail. But believing that you are fat, I am uncomfortable, I am fat, I can't breathe, oh, whoa, and then it's a circle, it's an ego circle, it's a circle of illusion, of disillusion, it's a circle of limiting beliefs. Whether it's our weight, whether it's our relationships, whether it's our ability to be received by people. I catch myself all the time, especially with my family. I'm one of 7. I always say, no one listens to me. Growing up with 7, you're screaming. Everyone's always screaming. Well, I grew up with that thought, no one listens to me. No one hears me. No one listens to me. And then Heather will say, I'll do something, and then literally it'll like go pew. And she'll say, babe, you always say no one hears you. The universe just gives us what we keep telling it. The universe is like Switzerland. It's neutral. That's why we really get it. I know you with your bleeding heart. But why are they getting hurt? And then they're getting hurt. It's, we have to just be careful what we ask for, because we just might get it. The universe isn't there to punish. It's not there to destroy. It's there to create. It's there to be a cooperative component in your ability to thrive. Life is about thriving and surviving. So in our life, we have to ask ourselves, are we thriving? Are we surviving? Are we of fear, or are we of love? Okay? So with all of this intention setting, what we're doing here tonight, I am going to call in my guides. I'm going to call on your football team. Your football team is a group of divine beings. Whether you call them spiritual guides, whether you call them angels, whether you call them loved ones that have transitioned. Okay? Because we all feel that energy that's with us. Loved ones that have loved us in this lifetime. Do you think they're gone playing polo somewhere? They don't leave us. So we want to call them. Sometimes when we feel so broken, who's unbroken here? Oh! So when we are unbroken, do not isolate yourself. Call help. Call on your runners. Call on that football team. You ever see a really eager team? They're on the bench and they're like, come on, coach, call me. Our guides are like that. They're on that bench and they're like, yeah, we'll help you, but call me. It's called free will. Call me. So I want to say, I call on our guides. I call on our angels. I call on the archangels. I call on all divine beings, the collective consciousness, our loved ones. Be with each of us tonight. Remove any of our obstacles, our barriers, our fears, so we can align with the greatness that is us. Let us connect to one another. Let us feel supported and remove any hardships, fear, worry, or doubts when we walk out of this door. And I want to say with much gratitude, thank you, gratitude. Because they don't have to do it. I don't have to ask. I'm grateful. So you want to always set intentions. 2 seconds. Go to the bathroom. Do some breathing. I'm at work. Sometimes, hide your ears. Sometimes I'll say, just let this day go by fast. Please just let this day go by fast. Let it be great. Let it go by fast. And I'll say, and just let it be easy and peaceful. Because that's really something we often want to see in ourselves as peace. And so we set an intention, and then when you're feeling, somebody the other day said, I'm really excited. I'm about to do something online with somebody who is friends with Oprah. And it's an exciting thing to put something together with somebody who, her Facebook page is her and Oprah. Like I always say, I'm one person away from Oprah. Like always. It's amazing. And so it's like, I just want to eat with this woman. That's it. I just want to say, let's do this. So, it got me excited, threw me off. But you want to set your intention, but you want to call, and that's what she said. Who's your audience? Who's your target audience? I said, I don't care what age they are. I want to talk to the people who are spiritually bankrupt and who are emotionally exhausted. That's who I want to talk to. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, green, straight, gay. Everybody feels feelings the same. And that's what I do not like about when we go out into the world, the people who try to force us to drink their inauthentic Kool-Aid. Don't do that. Don't say that. No, there's a saying, you poop the same. We feel pain the same. We feel anytime you have a loss, whether it's a job or love or financial loss. We've all been there when we pay our bills and then there's that one bill that shows up. And we're like, damn, that's all I got in my account. And it's like, I'm trying to get ahead here. I'm doing my happiness cocktail. What? So we get to the point where it's like we become spiritually bankrupt. We're exhausted emotionally. We're tired. And sometimes it's okay to be tired. When you try so hard, you're doing this. I have my moments, and I think one of the biggest things, the biggest hints, secrets, tips, this is great. The happiness cocktail is great. It's something for you to have every day and play with. You are going to have moments where it's not all coming together. And I think a lot of these gurus, not all of them, some of them hit that point, but some of them sell these products that promise these euphoria events all the time, these feelings, and then we miss them and we think there's something we're doing wrong. And the truth in life is life doesn't stop happening. It never will. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to lose someone you love. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to realize the job I put my time, my energy, and my money and my soul into all of a sudden took me to a completely different level. I'm now going way over here. And in those moments, you go back to your happiness cocktail because those little things are going to be what actually get you through. It's all about thriving and surviving. It's not about there's some people that do Esther Hicks stuff. I love Esther Hicks. It's all law of attraction. If you have this going on, get happy. It's great. But these Esther Hicks people are always like, just get happy. Just get happy. And it's like, that's fine. But my brother just body slammed me, and I'm like 296 pounds, so, and that happened a few Christmases ago. I moved in with my mom to keep life happens, keep my daughter in her school. And stuff happened. 7 kids. Moms are always going to bring kids home, right? And he needed to move home. He was younger. I'm much older. And then stuff happened. You know, he was partying and the friends were over, and it just went on too long, and things just weren't handled. Thank God he grew up. He's beautiful. But things just weren't handled at the time, and when you do not handle your emotions, they will handle you. And that moment of fear picked me up and body slammed me. And at that moment, you cannot tell me it was time to get happy. So we have to be where we are. Be where you are. Accept it. Connect to where you are. Are you afraid? Are you lonely? Are you scared? There's a man that we work with. Every meeting he starts, he says, "Can I be raw with you?" The first time I sat in his meeting, I'm like, I'm using that. Because and I said it earlier, in this event tonight, this moment of gratitude, I'm asking all of you, can I be raw with you? Can I be real with you?
Be real, girl.
But in it, I want more than anything for you to be real with you. Because if we are not honest with who we are, where we are, what we need, this is your throat chakra, right? We're not going to get too much into chakras. That's next Saturday at my spiritual boot camp. But chakras, if we have spiritual, do you all agree that you are spirit energy?
Yes.
Okay. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. You can flip that and say, no, well, I'm a human being and I had one spiritual experience. That's fine. But in any event, we are a part of us is a spiritual being. Part of us is a spiritual being. And so with that being said, there are physical needs that we have. There are mental needs that we have. There are spiritual needs that we have. And some of those spiritual aspects of ourselves, physical's easy, you can see it, you can touch it. Spiritual's not so easy. There's a throat chakra, you can call it chakra, chokra, I don't care. There's a throat spiritual energy here, and when it's blocked, we have communication issues. And when we hear the word communication, it's also the color blue. So if you're on that toilet in the morning at work or at home, and you're breathing, breathe in blue, visualize blue, just breathe it in. What that area is communication. And we automatically think, we're taught, some of us have gone to marital counseling in the past, communication is 2 ways. You are speaking up clearly, you are listening clearly, right? And I think it's great and purposeful. However, we have to communicate with ourselves. Actually, that's why we're in the mess. Because we're either speaking up clearly to ourselves and we're telling ourselves to shut up, not now, I can't do it now, maybe tomorrow, I'm not worth it, or we're not identifying what we need at all and we're just not existing in our lives. So when we are talking about these things and we're being real and we're being honest, am I doing this of love or am I doing this of fear? Right? We have something in life called fear. In fact, unfortunately in life it's going to always be there. Part of being human, like we talked about that spiritual stuff, part of being human is we have something called the ego. We all heard it. Check your ego. We tell our kids sometimes, fix your tude. So, the ego is amazing because the ego is this little voice, unfortunately, that most of us were raised listening to. The ego will tell us things that if you overheard her saying them, you'd be shocked that you heard them. The ego will tell us things that are abusive, but we're so used to our ego talking. We're actually so used to our ego ordering us, telling us. We've actually, so much so that it's become who we are. The ego feeds us fear. It tells us, don't do that. I'll be doing this. I'll do it when I'm ready. The ego is the only thing that actually separates us from our light. The problem is being human, you will always have that I call them goes. Go, a growth opportunity. You always have a go. You always have a moment. Remember, life is the lesson. Gabrielle Bernstein says, life is the lesson, people are my assignments. You can't run from it. You can be a hermit. And good luck with that. I mean, I think it's great, but not for me. So, you still can't run from people. You can't run from where they are with their life. So you're always going to be experiencing thought processes. Always. In fact, you coming here was a thought. Me doing the event was a thought. The outfit I chose was a thought. Our thoughts create our realities. So are our thoughts fear-based? Is our ego driving the car? Because then our realities are going to be nothing but fear experiences. Oh, I'm at that party. Damn, she's here. You feel intimidated. There's that girl, Donna, right there. Donna, every time I go to this party, man, she takes my light. And then we sit thinking, and this is now law of attraction, like attracts like. That thought just becomes a boulder, and it's the ego. It's bringing, like says, law of attraction says, more of it. You're going to get more of it. So the minute you're thinking, here's where I'm at, and there she is, and this is this, or I'm at work, and the position I want, they're in that position. Not with our job at all. This is another company. But, you look at sometimes and you think, but that? Really? So what happens is that ego is telling, we're listening. In fact, it is us. It is our mind. But then what happens when we go to bed at night, there's this little voice inside. It's called your inner voice. It's called your conscience. It's called your higher self. That voice is always a voice of love. You'll notice ego will go up, it'll go down. Ego has personality. Ego gets fired up. Ego gets you like, wow! Right? Your inner voice does not. Your inner voice will always be solid. It'll be silent, and it'll be consistent. Your inner voice will always speak of love. You have the two options. You have your ego screaming. You have your inner voice speaking. And you have the choice. You have the choice to either make a decision of love, or make a decision of fear. We have a decision in every moment. Most of us choose to give up that decision. Most of us choose to feel like we don't. We're trapped. No matter what she said, my life is hard. Look where I came from. Look where I came from. Right? But then, unfortunately, you can look at all the people that are doing amazing things in the world. And I was listening to something the other day, Wayne Dyer. I don't know if you guys know Wayne Dyer. Did you know he lived in an orphanage? Like, here's this guy on Hay House that's doing all these big speeches about love and forgiveness, and I'll use a metaphor of his in a little bit. And then he's talking about, I grew up in an orphanage. And he says it was the Depression. My mom had us, my dad took off, and my mom couldn't raise us. She gave us up. They've all reconnected. But all of a sudden you think, here's this man, and he's successful. And doing what I do, no, I don't want to be with Hay House one day, but I don't want to sit behind a desk. No offense. I love being a complaint coordinator, but I love lifting people. I love showing people how good they are and how possible they are. And, I look at sometimes I compare myself to others. Gabrielle Bernstein started about the same time that I did. We really started rocking and rolling in our careers in 2009. She started herfuture.com, and she wrote a book called ING, I-N-G, and I started the movement within. I've written 3 books, and I always compare myself to where she's at now and where I'm at now. That's human and that's normal, right? And I have 2 choices. I can sit there and I can look at all the amazing things she's doing. She just wrote a new book called Spirit Junkie, and she's got all these books out. She's like New York Times best-selling author, and butt dialed me the other day. I interviewed her on my radio show. So she butt dialed me, and I'm like, ah! But we compare ourselves, or that is a choice of fear. Because I'm comparing myself to a completely different, magnificent, divine being who has a right to align with her greatness. And I am listening to my ego telling me, well, you're not aligning with your greatness, and look where you're at. Look where you're at. Look where, and then I have, that's Heather. Look how far you've come, honey. You're so, and that's great. And the support is so important. You'll see that on our stuff. But, it doesn't matter because you are where you are at that moment. You're where you are at that moment. And so we could either say, here's where I am. And I know we have somebody here today called Progress. Who's Progress? Oh my God, you're Progress. So when I call you, you guys need to identify with your names. Some of you might not even read them, but it's so important because these things are these are normally the things that we don't think about. So one thing we don't say, am I ready? You're ready. It's always like saying, so tonight I want you guys to look at each other. I know we're like, I don't want to talk to people. I didn't want to come and talk to people. But when you guys get out of your comfort zone, miracles happen. When you step out of your comfort zone, miracles happen. And people are like, well, I didn't do makeup today, and I'm sorry, but are any of you really looking at other people's okay, except the beauty control and Mary Kay people, all right? Sorry. But are you really concerned about the color of powerful shirt? Or are you really listening to what's being said, right? So as you're sitting there thinking, I don't want no one looking at me, I didn't put makeup, no one's thinking about that, really. So, yeah. But, so, I want you to, as you're looking around the room, I want you to look at everybody, because it's uncomfortable. I did an experience last night with the kids. They all had mirrors. I passed around mirrors. And it was interesting to see what they were doing with them. I had one over here who, it was neat to see you. You took the mirror and she was literally taking that in. I had other people that actually were looking at the back side of the mirror. I had some people that would look and look, and it kills me. Because sometimes we just need someone to help hold us up so we can see that reflection. Right? And so when we are looking around tonight, it's like, look at these words, because that's who these people are. That's who you are. You are loved. You are not broken. I don't care what you say. There's that little ego in us sometimes that says, I'm just broken. That's why it sucks. Because I'm broken. Look where I came from. God used up all His good resources on her. But we're not broken. We are actually whole. We're whole all the time. It's just we forget it. And because we forget it, we take actions that are fear-based and that will reflect that, and then our lives show up showing us that we are not whole. And then we feel so bad. You know why we feel bad? At any moment, the reason we feel bad is because who we are is standing here telling us, you are loved, you are willing, you are able, you are powerful, right? But everything we're thinking and doing is saying the opposite. We're actually fighting ourselves. So if you ever watch a little kid in the mirror, they're angry. They're angry. That's what we do, right? And then the grown-ups are like, don't do that. Mommy loves you. But yet, as adults, here's what we're doing. We're in our own mirror going, right? So who's telling us, don't do that, I love you? Who? If you're not connected to yourself, you're hearing no one. Okay? So, we did the intention, alright? I want to do a quick breathing exercise, because breath, in the beginning of all of this, I did a lot of automatic writing. Just means that you're writing and it's not you. Something's coming through. And I said, what is this stuff? I was born and raised Catholic. I'm a very non-practicing Catholic now. It's just where I'm at, okay? And I like to talk about, not here, but I like to work with Jesus Christ consciousness, not necessarily Jesus the Christ, right? It's just where I'm at. And so I said one day, what is this stuff with the breath? What is this, I am the breath of life? I don't like to get into the spiritual jargon, the religious stuff. It just makes me uncomfortable. And all of a sudden there was this thing that came through, and it has nothing to do with spirit. It automatically said, breath is life. When you breathe it in, you are one with Source. When you take your last breath, you no longer need to be one with Source, because you are Source. That's why we cease breathing when we pass. We don't need to feel God. When you think of God, you think of peace. You think of ease, all the answers, clarity, right? And so here we are running around being that child in the mirror, right? And the one thing that we can do that can bring that source into us is breathing, right? So everybody, I just take a deep breath, and we're going to, remember, we're being real with ourselves. So I love when people are like, all right, I'm going to bring God into my body, and I'm going to align with this energy, and they're like, no, let's breathe. I want you to sit up. You don't have to get up. Just sit up. Is it hot in here?
That's what
I thought, I don't know. 'Cause sometimes when I do readings, my energy just gets like sweat buckets. So I thought, not now, not tonight. Okay, so it's not just me. So when you are sitting up, take your body seriously. Take your life, take yourself seriously. Close your eyes. You want to close your eyes so we can open our inner eye, our inner clarity. They say we have, so many senses. When you close off one, all of the other ones magnify. So just close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath in, filling up your gut. And let it out through your mouth. It's very interesting to see and hear how people are breathing. Some of us are really focused, and others are like breathing out of our earlobes. You want to breathe the paint off the walls. Breathe it into your body. Hold it. Push it out of your mouth. That was much better. Do another one. Breathe it in. You are alive. Hold it in your gut. That's your control center. Exhale. Push it out. How do you feel? A little better. I'm not saying that all your problems are gone. What you did is you actually just took your power back. It's a way that you actually got connected to your spot, your place. It's where you connect to yourself in the moment. Actually, it's the only place where you can connect to the moment. So when we are going through life, I do it in the car sometimes, not with our eyes closed, but whether you're at work, and I say these things because people always say, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time, and I know my soul would be so much happier. I'd be happier mentally. I don't have time. But we do make time to text people back. We do make time to get our hair done. We do make time to cook or order food. So sometimes, and that goes back to the throat thing. When you honor yourself, what is important to you? If your happiness and your joy was not important, you would not be here tonight. And I have it on record, so that's pretty cool. So, you can't say, well, I really wasn't. I just showed up. But if your well-being was not an importance to you, you wouldn't be here tonight. So when you are going through your day, happy people do happy things. Happy people do happy things. Do we like to always do the happy things? No, not if we're upset or angry and I'm not saying again, there's like, get happy. No, we can do happy things. Sometimes breathing is the only happy thing you can do in the moment. When you are when you've lost somebody, my mom was supposed to be here tonight. Some of this stuff is actually driven right to her. My mother lost her mother when she was 14. My grandmother, and I talk about it on the radio show, I've talked about my grandmother committed suicide when mom was 14. And so here's a woman that raised 7 kids that has total struggles with her own, confidence and her ability to be a mom. And just lost her aunt, the only living relative of my grandmother. So my mom, literally an hour before the event, she's like, I can't come, I'm so sorry. And I thought, man, this would have been the one moment, the one event that really would have been good. Because when we are feeling those feelings of I just can't, breathe through those emotions. Happy, you guys heard the Pharrell song? You could tell, because I listen to it all the time. But the song, but it's a very uplifting, happy song. But there are moments we don't feel that way. We don't want to feel happy. But it doesn't mean that we don't want well-being. It doesn't mean, in fact, what we want is relief. And sometimes I like to switch the word happy with the word relief. You know, a lot of us that have dealt with loss or weight issues, I don't care what burden it is you're bearing, it hurts and it's heavy. Right? And the last thing we want to do is do that for that song, I'm so happy. No, we don't want to do it. So in those moments, what you can do is breathe. In fact, it's funny because we will try some of this stuff out in our relationship. Does not always work, because there are moments where she's just like, forget that breathing. Or I'm just like, you're not doing your breathing. So, yeah, you got to be very careful with that. But, you know, when you practice it, when you apply it, when you play with it, there's a saying that says it's perfection. I mean, it's progress, not perfection. There's a reason for that. We are raised in a society that tells us we have to be perfect, we have to be on time, we have to be on target, we have to be perfect now. Right? And the problem is, there are moments where we are like, I got it. I'm there. And it's like we keep raising that bar, and then we fall. And we have this moment and we think, I messed it all up. I've messed it all up. I'm a failure. We do this in relationships. I'm a failure. I am in the same damn relationship I was in again. I thought I fixed that pattern. And you realize it's not. It's not. It's just we have to really be real with ourselves. People are people. Life is life. We are progress. We're not perfection. And in that moment when you make that thought to say, you know what, it is okay. It's whatever it is, we'll get through it. All I have right now is breathing. I'm just going to breathe. I'm just going to breathe my way through this moment because I don't know what to do. My resources aren't available, but I can breathe. I can breathe. I don't care if there's lots of different ways to breathe. There's a way you do fire breathing, where it's really, and if you ever want to get a quick energy fix, try fire breathing. I know you guys are like, ha, you'll try it. When you're by yourself, you're like, I want to clean the house, I've got 20 minutes. You want some quick energy? Fire breathe. You're not going to pass out, I promise you. You might feel that way. But so the breath is very important, because remember, the one thing that brings us relief is source energy. It's remembering who we are, where we are, why we're doing it. There's a saying when you're working out, it's like, when I want to give up, I want to focus on why I started in the first place. But you can really apply that to everything. I'm ready to give up, I'm ready to walk out of the relationship, or I'm ready to leave my job, but I want to remember, why did I start it in the first place? Do you know how many times I walked away from doing this? Crying in bed, it is not my calling, clearly. And then I get an email on Facebook, or I get a message or a text that says, I need you. I don't know what I'm doing, everything's falling apart. And then I go, shit, I had just accepted my detour. Because the thing is, remember, you're going to get it when you make a comment or a commitment. I love you, I want to do this with you forever. That's a commitment. One day I had asked a long time ago, I said, Source, Yahweh, Jesus, whatever you are, use me as an instrument of your peace. Unfortunately, I couldn't take it back. I couldn't take it back. So there are some times where people will come to me and say, I don't know what's going on, help me. And I'm not the one helping. I'll hold the space for their source to talk to them. But it's you seeking relief wherever you can. Where can you find relief? Where are you going to seek relief? So moving through this, there's this whole thing that I call the Spirit Posse. And we're talking about it's in your folder. We'll go through it later. But the Spirit Posse, it's a group of people. It's you, me, it's kids. It's people that know, here I am, and I matter, and I'm going to be progress, period. Whatever that means. And it does encompass mind, body, soul. Spirit Posse peeps, that's what I call you guys. Spirit Posse peeps, you know that it is mind, it is body, it is soul. And even if you try to pretend that one of those elements don't work, it's going to grab you. It's going to sneak up and bite you. Because you could be mentally fine, spiritually fine, and you break your leg. Or you get cancer. I don't know many of you who have ever known anybody that has cancer or has gotten cancer or struggled with cancer, are they not the most spiritual people you'll ever meet? They get spiritual real fast. Okay? So I always say, if Source is calling you in whatever dynamic Source is using, jump on it. That's that synchronicity thing. Because you don't want Source to say, hey, I've been trying to call you, and now you're going for chemo. Source is going to be there. You're always going to align. You can actually heal right through it. But the truth is, we are mind, we are body, we are soul. So, Spirit Posse peeps, remember that. They try to remember that. They show up in their lives every day. You see me walking around work. I know you some mornings want to just punch me. There she is, she's so happy. Ugh, God damn, she's so happy. I have a choice. There are times I'm not. But have you ever, I want everybody, as fake as it feels, I want you to smile. Smile. Just do it big. Try it and say, God, I hate this. I hate life. I hate it. Very hard, right? So I'll walk around and I'm like, good morning. Even on the instant message, I'm like, heart, rainbow, sun. You know, it's just, people are like, ah. It is. It is. So, grumpy, you see the grumpy cat. I love the grumpy cat. There are grumpy people, and that's okay. But the truth is, those grumpy people either feel like there's something that they are being called to do, or they're okay. And if you're okay with depression, there's some people that are depressed, and that's where they are. If you're okay with where you are, that's fine. We're not here to change the world. All of a sudden, that's like people go, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I heard that I have to be the change I wish to be. I thought we were changing the world. You do change the world, but you need to focus on yourself first. You heard the story about the starfish. The grandfather and the son are walking on the beach. Hundreds of starfish. And the little boy's throwing them feverishly. His fire breath. Bill Cosby, remember Bill Cosby? And throwing them in the water. And the grandfather's going, what are you doing? They're dead. They're dying. You're not going to save them. And the little boy holds up the starfish. He goes, but I'm saving this one. You know, and I love you because you're always like, I just wanted to help him, and I wanted to help him, and I want to. Heidi, I swear to God, could be the ambassador for healing and loving everybody. And the problem is sometimes we actually lose ourselves because we want to help so much. We do, because we just feel so called. You know, you believe in somebody's purpose. We do this with our kids. We believe in your purpose so much, I'm forgetting me. The problem is our kids are so damn smart that they go, thanks, Mom, but you're forgetting you. Our kids will call us out. So we have a right. We have an authentic. We have a responsibility to ourselves, our world. We're changing our world. And when we do this, it's funny because fears come up. Fears are always going to come up. In fact, there's a book called A Course in Miracles. That may be a little too much for some of you. We'll stay right at the Sesame Street I Am Who I Am song. But there's a Course in Miracles, and it talks about, Marianne Williamson lectures it, but she says we don't have a fear of being inadequate. Most of us think, I'm just worthless, or I'm inadequate, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. That is what I told myself all the time. If I were enough, I would have a bigger venue. I could reach more. I say all the time on the toilet, bring me to the masses. Bring me to the masses. And I had people cancel. And my first thought, I had to do a meditation tonight. Because I'm like, man, I thought there was going to be more. And I'm going to move in. And then it was like, all of a sudden, that was the ego. You're not enough. Ha-ha. We told you. And then there's that silent voice that says, but what about the starfish? You know better. I get my butt kicked. Those of you who have had sessions with me, you know I get my butt kicked. You know better, April. That's the problem. Most of us, all of us are intuitive in this room. All of us hear that voice. It may come in different ways. It may come in through a song we're hearing. It may come in through a best friend. It may come through our partner. It may come in through our child. It may come when you're sitting holding on to the only moment you have. You have cried all day, and all of a sudden there's a voice that says, just be. We all have it. So when we are working with being inadequate, it's not that our fear is inadequate, it's our fear is that we are powerful beyond measure, is what Marianne Williamson says. I used to think I had a fear of failure. The first radio show I did was Movement Radio on Blog Talk. I did a whole thing on failure. No. I was afraid of success.
Wow.
I was afraid, and that's what they say, is it's not your darkness that you're afraid of. You're already there.
You need to say that one more time.
Being afraid of your success. So you are afraid of the darkness, but what we're really afraid of is our light. Why? Because we are raised by these things called families. Families. They're great. They feed us. We party with them. We give birth to babies within them. We marry some of the families, right? But so we've got these families, and they teach us how to cope with life. Some of our families drink. That's how they cope. Some of our families actually don't communicate at all. But we're great families. They cook and everything. It's Christmas, come over. But I'm really upset. I'm hurt. Well, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. But Dad's having an affair on you. Shh. I love your father. Shh. Mom, you're now 420 pounds, Mom. You got diabetes. We don't talk about that. Mom, I'm gay. Disowned. We don't talk about things. It's not bad. It's just people function in dysfunction. People function in dysfunction. And it works until you're here. And you're like, I don't know what's going on, but there's something. And then she said the dysfunction word. And then that kind of felt like what's going on. And I don't think I'm ready to function in dysfunction anymore. You're now part of the spirit posse. Our greatness, we are always going to be called to our well-being. We're always going to be called to our well-being. If our gut is telling us, leave the job, leave the job, leave the job, do it the right way, but leave the job, because you're being aligned with your well-being. When you take that guidance, Source is telling you, I hear what you are saying. Stop holding on and let me help you drive. How many times do we say, I love God and I love life and I want to be happy? And we're all in the car, and there's that song blaring by, what's her name? Jesus Take the Wheel, and it's blaring, and we're like, yeah, Jesus. And it's like, well, wait a minute. You're just going in circles, girl. And our guides love us so much that they'll let us tire ourselves out. They'll go, just let her go. Just, shh. She's so good at this. It'll be like 6 years. Let her go. Just go. Because we're infinite. You can't get it done. You can't get it done. You're never going to get it done. So you just go. And our guides are patient because they know you're going to have that aha moment. Spirit posse people don't have aha moments. We have super booms. We talked about it on the phone. I'm like, and then I'm telling Heather, oh my God, it's like a spirit boom. A super boom. And Heather goes, what? I'm like, super boom? And Heather goes, no, don't do that. Don't. And Maddie's going, oh my God, Mom. It just embarrasses her. No, we have super booms. We are here in this life for super booms. It's the first time your partner said, I love you. That was a super boom. It was the first time you completed something that you didn't think you could. That was a super boom. It was the minute you carried that child around for 9 months or got off the plane to pick them up and you looked in their eyes. That was a super boom moment. This life is not meant for the dysfunction, but we only find how to function through the dysfunction. So we have to go through that. There will never be a moment where it doesn't come up. Like people go, I went to this event and I went to the Hay House Summit, but why is my partner leaving me? Then screw this God stuff. Screw it. I'm not intuitive. I'm done. And our guides say, that's fine. Be where you're at. It's okay. Because love doesn't end. Love doesn't stop. Your mother will never stop loving you. Ever. Whether they're here, whether they're there. So do you think your guides, do you think your source will give up on you because you just had a temper tantrum? No. They'll let you, what do you do with your kids? Just do your thing, calm down, then talk to me when you're ready. That's what source says to us. Do your thing. Burn all the pictures. Go, do it. You'll be back. Because you're always going to be pulled to your well-being. Always. I deal with a lot of death in what I do. A lot of people come to me with their hands in their hearts because they lost their parent or they lost a child. And I have to sit there thinking, use me as the instrument of your peace. And these people, some of that death is suicide. I was being Catholic, you're born and raised that suicide, you go to hell. I do not believe in hell. I believe this is hell on earth when we create it. So when you are dealing with suicide, it was very difficult to have what I was taught and then have what I was experiencing and then have the individual across from me. And more often than not, it was apparent to me that these individuals that committed suicide, there was not a hell. They were happy. And then my two cousins, 2 different times, passed in the house from pills. Young, beautiful, pills. And the one passed first and said, I had to go first to save my sister. She has a pill problem. And I'm running to my mom. Mom, she has a pill problem? No one knew this. And they knew. It just wasn't enough. She was ready to go. And all of a sudden, the 2 of them are like happy. They were aligned with their well-being. I'm not one for suicide. I'm not saying if you're not happy, please leave here and let's start talking. What I am saying is you're always going to be pulled and aligned to your well-being. And for some of those people, there are people in this earth, and we try to save them, that are not happy. They're not. And we try and we try and we try, and then they pass. Even people who are sick. There are some people that get cancer, they're healed. They get cancer, they're healed. It's like a different part of the body, and then they pass. It's like sometimes certain things have to die. Not necessarily just people, but even relationships, jobs, mindsets, thoughts. The way we are doing things, if they are not working, why are we still doing them? I was 296 pounds in October of this year. I apologize, August, when I started the company. In my mind, I was so hot. I was very, you kind of don't know it until you see it. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, no one's going to notice. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't sleep. I had sleep apnea. I was on blood pressure medication. I was on high cholesterol medication. Something had to crack because I was dying. I was dying. I have struggled with that. I've lost 100 pounds twice in my life. And here I'm bigger now than I ever was. You always say I'm going to lose it and I'll never gain it back. Well, if you're not committed to your well-being, you will. And so here I was again. And now when you're older, your metabolism is shot. I don't know about you, mine didn't work anymore. I used to be able to kick a toe and lose 10 pounds. Now I would starve and work out and not lose 2 pounds a week. So, you have to change. There's a saying, if you keep doing what you did, you're going to keep getting what you got. Right? And it's like people say, but I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. You are divine creators. You are divine. If you've made a child, sorry, you're a divine creator. That's just proof. You are a divine creator. You know what not to do. And we just keep doing it. Food was my drug of choice. Because food listened. I couldn't handle what was going on around me. I couldn't handle fears, worries, doubts. I couldn't handle the idea of being successful. What happens if I'm able to speak clearly, I'm able to do events, and I'm thin? Some of you are already thin, but do you know how scary that is to be in your own power? What if my whole thing, the whole thing in life is just to connect to that? What else do you have once you get it all? What do you have after that? So it's easier to stay broken sometimes. It's easier to stay in the dysfunctional relationship. It's easier to stay unhealthy or to continue eating in very harmful ways. The food is good. I'm Polish, Italian, and Irish, yes. But when you're eating it in large amounts where your blood, you can feel your blood pressure go like this. Your body is saying, stop. We are calling you to your well-being. This is not well. Because if you're not fine physically, your spirit's going to feel it. Everything in life is going to feel it. Your relationship. How many times do you say to your husband or your spouse, I'm not feeling good and I'm not feeling so sexy, so I don't really want to have sex tonight. We've said that. I put on 10 pounds. Not tonight. But then you lose like 20 pounds and you're like, woo! It's amazing. Your mindset. You lose like 10 pounds and you're like lined up at Victoria's Secret or Lane Bryant Cachet and you're like, I'll take that one and that one and there's those thoughts of love. Everything is a thought of love or a thought of fear. So I want you to take out your folders. So we have established that we are called to our well-being. Every decision, every moment. And every moment you have in life is a go moment. It's a growth opportunity.